Hello everybody, how are we all? I hope that everyone is doing very well. Welcome back to the channel. Today you are joining me for an upper session. So I'm going to give you a full walkthrough of my current upper session layout, walk you through a little bit more of my split because I haven't actually done a full video yet to talk through my new training split because I am now running an upper lower split and I want to take you through probably not all of my sessions because I have 6 sessions in total, but I will take you through like a couple of the sessions, walk you through how that looks like, starting today with an upper session. Honestly, I'm still kind of adapting to this session layout. I thought I had a completely different session today, but I don't. I have a slightly different one, but it's still a great one. So I'm just in my car now. I've just arrived at the gym. I'm about to head in, filming the intro in here because when I get in, I will literally sit down, write my logbook out, and then I will crack on with the session. But trying something a little bit different today, actually filming it myself and just kind of talking you through all the movements, talking through the layout, kind of just letting you guys sort of like be in the session with me. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. But other than that, we will get straight stuck in. I hope that you find this session entertaining to watch. It's very versatile because you can watch it before you're training push, training pull, whatever you've got upper body wise. It fits. And maybe if you're interested in just knowing how to kind of train your upper body and what those sessions look like, hopefully it'll be an entertaining one. So yeah, we will go in the gym now. Alright guys, so I thought that actually before I start the session, I'd show you how I write out my logbook and how I actually set up a session to track my progress. So this is the way that I actually set my logbook out. I'm aware it's a mess. It's literally, yeah, it's not actually parts anymore. It's just several pages that I just fold up in here, but I'm too attached to it because it has almost like a year and a half worth of sessions in here. But the way that I like to lay my sessions out is I do session by session has its own like double stack page like this, and then I do the layout of the session, and then I can literally track week on week on week like this. So today we've got my upper 2 sessions. Start by always writing out like what the date is at the top. So today is the 3rd of March, and then write my body weight. So at the moment today I was 123.4 pounds, and then I look at the session that I've got laid out today just to talk it through for you guys. I've got assisted pull-ups, lying Y raise, 55-degree dumbbell press, Cybex single arm row, prime row, weighted dip, ease bar push downs, and dumbbell hammer curls. I always do the exact same mobility work at the start of pretty much every session. Lower sessions I do a little bit more, so obviously I need to make sure that like my hips, my knees, everything is feeling a little bit better before I go into those movements. But even before upper days, like you have to think you're still using your lower body in some capacity, especially if you've got like big presses and stuff. You need to make sure that you can actually stabilize yourself and you can actually drive a good amount of power and feel safe on movements. But yesterday, I also spent like 4 hours in the car. And it was the same the day before because I went down to Cheltenham to see Zena. So my body's feeling a little bit stiff, a little bit tired today. So I need to make sure that I especially spend a good bit of time just kind of getting it moving, getting it feeling actually good before I go into the session. Like, you don't need to do a stupid amount of work here, but whatever you need to do depending on like your job and things like that to make sure that you're actually feeling mobile, you're feeling safe, feeling ready to go. In terms of your upper session layout as well, it really kind of depends on what your goals are and what you need to work on. Now for me, most of my sessions, so I have 3 total. I have 3 upper sessions, 3 lower sessions. Most of them for me, I do have a little bit more of a back focus because obviously I need to work on improving my back. Today, I still have a little bit more of a back focus, but this is actually probably one of my more push dominant sessions where I actually have my press as kind of like the main movement. You'll see it's 3rd in the session, but I still start with an assisted pull-up because I still need to prioritise a little bit of my back. And I think that doing something like a pull-up and doing something where I'm also focused on more scapular mobility, actually getting a little bit more blood flow to my back at the start of the session, I think it really, really helps as well with even just stabilising on the movements and just overall a movement that I think can be neglected quite a lot as well when it comes to like overall back development and just having like freedom through these motions, but also being able to control them really well. So I'll basically start warming up there now because I've done pretty much most of the warm-up work that I need to do. Don't forget that with your pull-ups and your dips, they're a movement that ultimately are going to change in terms of difficulty as you get lighter or heavier, because it's dependent on your body weight. Like, your body weight is part of the loading. So for me on this, because I am getting heavier, if I can hold on to numbers, so if I can get the same amount of reps with the same assistance on here each week, and I'm getting heavier, then that's still a progression. Same thing goes for my dips. If I can obviously take more reps or take less load, less assistance on it, then that's also an even bigger win. But it's why it's quite a nice movement to sometimes have with dieting, because it's like the one thing that feels like it's actually progressing, because you're basically just getting lighter and it's kind of getting easier. The goal with this is not to be trying to chase crazy progressions, especially not to compromise the purpose of the movement anyway. Like, I need to make sure that I'm actually executing this as needed. And I'm starting off the session with a movement that is actually getting in the stimulus that I need, and I'm not just kind of moving about for the sake of it, just to make a number happen. Boom! So that was actually one rep up from last rotation, which is good. I'll take that. I feel like my connection with my back is improving quite a lot. I think now that I'm training it more frequently, because the way that this split runs for me is I do upper lower rest repeat. So it's not like 4 upper lower sessions in a week. I literally do upper lower rest, upper lower rest. So I'm training it more frequently, and I'm also now training it fresh. So I'm training it after a rest day rather than training it after push, which I think for me personally, I was probably feeling quite beat up from the push sessions, and I was going into pull with already quite sore traps, and even my lats quite sore just from stabilising my presses. So now I get to go in fresh. So back feels more fresh. I'm able to just get better connection, just better at back training by doing it more. Like, I need more skill acquisition for my back training, so the more that I can train it, the better. You know what, it is so nice as well to feel really, really powerful in these sets. Like, I've definitely reached a point now in this off season where I think I'm about 5 months post show. November, December, January, February, March. Nearly 5 months into the off season, where like I properly feel like in off season now, and I feel great. Like, I'm just like, yeah, settled into just being strong, enjoying progressing in the gym, feeling powerful. And this is like my favourite feeling ever. Like, I actually love prep, and I do love competing as well. But I definitely love this more, in the sense that like I could just do this forever and be happy, you know. Like, I love competing because it adds on top of it. And I think if anything, it's funny because it's like, for me, dieting's obviously challenging, but I think it comes more naturally to me, in the sense that, you know, being in a deficit and pushing myself there and coming into the gym and just fighting to maintain, and even just dealing with the hunger side of things, like, I don't struggle with it as much, whereas I think it's harder. Like, it is harder to push your body to progress, to push your body to be stronger, to push your body to go to places where it's uncomfortable, and it is hard. Like, that's harder to me. That's more challenging. It's also very rewarding. Like, I find this really rewarding too. I think if you are somebody who does struggle a lot with the off season, with getting heavier, like, you need to really flip it on its head, because I think so many people think like, oh, I'm just in a phase where I'm just ticking along, it's boring. I'm like, no, like, this is a time where like all the fun stuff really, really does happen and can happen. If it's not, that's something that you probably need to like work on, and you need to realize that this is a time where you can progress, where you can make amazing progress, and it is really, really, really fun. Anyway, I think the benefit of having this camera here is that I actually rest a little bit longer in between my sets rather than just going bang, bang, bang. But I have got another set left on here, so I'm going to do this final set and then we'll move on to some Y raises. Probably my favourite movement for delts. Obviously you get like a little bit of everything. You get predominantly front and side delt, maybe a little bit of rear delt as you come back, but they warm up basically the whole delt at the start of the session. So I think it has great function and purpose within not just like what they train at that point in time, but also with how it transfers into everything else in the session as well. So I really like them even just to start with mobility, but also just in the way that they feel. Like I come out of this and like my whole delts feel pumped, which is what I like going into everything else. Plus, if you are somebody like myself, like I struggle with a lot of issues like forearm tendonitis and elbow tendonitis. So if I was to do like dumbbells or things like that, I just aggravate my elbow so much. Even when it comes to machines. So when you look at, lateral machine or things like that, they're not necessarily needed, especially when, cables actually are far more favourable than machines for things like lateral work, because you have complete freedom of movement. You can move as you need to move, not with where the machine limits you. And for me, for the most part, a lot of machines don't tend to fit very well, because I'm 4'10", which is not the average height for most people, and definitely not what most machines are made for. So cables tend to work a little bit better. It's actually quite a big reason why I don't always let my logbook lead everything, and why I don't write like all my numbers out at the start of the session. Because that first set there, I'm like +6 from last week. Bear in mind that was the first time I'd done this. But at the moment, my strength is going up more than like what it might be if it was at 100% capacity, because I'm still adapting to the split. I think when I did this session last, I just got back from some travel. So, it's natural that I might come in and actually be able to get a lot more than I think. So most of the time, I'm like, right, okay, I know that this load is roughly going to be a decent set, but I'm just going to go in, I'm just going to take as many reps as I can do. And wherever it is, that's cool. Take a note of that. Like my logbook is where I like take a note and I log things. My logbook, it doesn't always just like tell me exactly what to do. Move on to the main press of the session, which today I've got, as I said, a 55-degree high incline dumbbell press. This is probably one of my favourite movements. I love dumbbell pressing, I really do. It's very challenging, but it's very fun. It's one of those big skill acquisition movements, but if you spend a really good amount of time doing it and getting better at it, it's really rewarding, it's really fun. And for me especially, that's why I love this upper session, because I kind of start the session with something that like, it lights the fire in me, and it's really important to actually have something that does kind of like light you up a little bit and turns you on and gets your CNS firing a little bit at the start of the session. That's something that I learned a lot from Jordan Shallow when I did a seminar with him once. Was, he said, even aside from if you're looking at the right exercises and what you need to do for muscle groups, it's like, don't neglect the importance of doing something that does get your CNS firing a little bit, because that can really, really impact your ability to take even better performance across the rest of the session, and also just like with resilience and what your CNS can handle. So yeah, anyway, we're going to move on to this. I've got 2 sets here today. The first set I'm planning to do is going to be 24 kilos for like a 4 to 6 repper. And so as a result, I will basically work my way up from the bottom, doing some warm-ups up to 24 kilos, but I'm not going to be doing 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. The goal is to kind of like bridge that gap from no warm-ups to my working set, increasing readiness, getting my like a good amount of blood flow, a good amount of safety, making sure that I have the skill of the movement nailed down, but without actually pulling away from that work set. So you basically titrate up in load, but then you titrate or you come down in reps. Don't know if titrate is really the right word. That reminds me of something from like chemistry, GCSE, which unfortunately I do not quite have the memory to tell you whether that's accurate or not. So yeah, I usually start with about 10 kilos. And then I'll probably do 14s, 18s, 20s, and then I'll go into 24s, or I might even do the 10s, and then I'll do the 12s and I'll do 16s. I'll see how they feel. Like, I have a really good ability to basically just judge things based on how they feel. You don't necessarily have to have an exact plan. You can basically just go off of obviously what feels good. And I think actually learning to be in tune with your body and what feels good on the day, and actually auto-regulating a little bit in line with that is really, really important. Last one, we're going to do the 20s, a couple of really powerful reps. That's the main goal for me. The last warm-up is like literally just assert confidence power. Don't waste energy. Like, I'll literally do 2 reps and then I'll go on to doing my work set from there. Make it easy, come on. Oh. Oh, I cut one of my calluses and I've just put chalk on it. It literally feels like acid on my hands. That's good.
What? Nice, come on. Yeah, nice. We're gonna have to be really careful with that last rep on this set.
Yeah.
Because if you keep doing this, like,
no, no.
you're just, all your 3 sets are then shit. Your first set needs to be 1 clear rep in the tank.
Okay.
Yeah? 1 clear rep, none of this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah? Then, on your last set, finish with a rep that's like that, and you get me here for it.
Okay.
I can spot you, but I'm going to walk away.
Okay.
Because otherwise you're just going to hit a brick wall.
Yeah, that's cool.
And you're going to get very frustrated. You're fine now, but like, I want you to look back at your dumbbell press progression and actually make progress. AKA, just going too hard.
But some of you might find this hard as well, especially if you're a smaller individual like me, or even if you just have like bigger jumps and dumbbells at the gym, whatever it is that it can be quite hard to find a set with dumbbells that like meets in your rep range. So like, the issue that I've been having there is that I take the 22s and I probably could get 8 or 9, but then I go to the 24s and I get like 4 really difficult reps, because it's, you know, it's like 2 kilos up each side. And sometimes what you have to do there is either go lighter and go above the rep range, or go lighter where you might be above that rep range, but really rinse it. Like, make the reps fall into the rep range by making them super, super challenging. So that's what I'll do next time. Learning, like, this is the thing is, I do sets like that in the past and I'd really wind myself up. And I'd be like, oh, it wasn't perfect, it wasn't what I wanted to be, but like, I can't change it now, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't always have to be perfect. It was still, you know, my best work. All I do is I learn from that and I go, right, okay, cool. So that was maybe a little bit rough. Next time, I'll do the 22s for my top set. I'll make sure that I really, really, really nail those before I go back to going near the 24s. That'll be the goal. So now I'm going to back off with the 20s, I think. I think I will do the 20s, but I'll just aim to get like a really, really solid 8 or 9 reps. Single arm row, just putting my shoes back on because I take my shoes off when I do my dumbbell presses, because these are a little bit like slippery. Vino barefoots or like Vibrams are pretty decent, but otherwise in these, like my feet just slide around inside and I don't really get proper foot drive off the floor, which is obviously super important. Okay, shoes back on. We're on this side of the single arm row. I'm doing this as a bit more of a lats bias movement. So a lot of machines you'll find might not be like perfect alignment. That's all right, because machines have different purposes. They're not built for everyone, but you can set them up to suit your purpose and suit you. So like for example, when I do this, so I'm trying to do a bit more lat, rather than following the path of the machine, which basically goes out like this, it diverges. I don't want that, because elbows out, if I was to come back like this, it'd be a bit more upper back. So instead what I do is I just align myself with the path of the handle like this, keep my elbow nicely tucked in, and I focus on keeping it on the lats as much as possible. So 2 sets here. First set, a little bit of a heavier set, a little bit more of a powerful set, and then my backup set, obviously a bit more high rep, and I like to focus on those slightly lighter sets, just really nailing down on the connection as much as I possibly can do. No. One thing I do find quite funny is the fact that I am genuinely convinced I spent the first 4-5 years bear in mind I've been training for like 8 years now, maybe even 6 to be honest. I'd say it's been the first 6 years of my training not knowing how to connect with my back, or at least knowing in some capacity with warm-up work, and then as soon as I started training just all went out the window. And you know why that was? It's because I was too carried away with wanting to get strong and move a lot of load. And I think a lot of it didn't come from a bad place. It came from the fact that I was like, oh, okay, like I need to follow progressive overload, I need to get strong. And like in a sense, yes, and you can't always be like, oh, I need to train like an exercise library and it needs to be perfect before I add weight. I think there's a mixture of the two. But don't get carried away with getting stupid strong if you can't feel anything. So like, you know, I shouldn't have been moving probably several plates in a row if I am literally just feeling like elbows, bicep, shoulders, you know, that's probably not a great sign. Whereas, you know, spend a bit of time just making sure that you actually are feeling yourself work the muscle group under load before anything else. That's something that I wish I'd done, because I would have less niggles, probably a slightly larger back. We're getting there now. But it's just one of those things, like don't be embarrassed to oh, hello. Yeah, you can say hello to the vlog. Meg's here, say hello. Hi, camera. There we go. Meg's someone who's built an amazing back, absolutely tremendous. She's always been one of my amazing friends, but also such a fantastic inspiration for me in bodybuilding. I'm very fortunate that like all my friends, like AJ, Meg, all the people I'm surrounded by. This weekend I've just spoke with Zena, all people that, you know, have such a positive influence on me, and I want my friends, I want the people in my life to be people that inspire me. Like, I think that that's such a fantastic thing to be grateful for. Anyway, I've gone off track. I was just saying, make sure you connect with your muscle groups. Oh, Jesus. This is where I wish I had some extra height to assist. Bloody hell. Ugh. Oh, Jesus. We're on the prime plate loaded row now. Obviously a little bit more of an upper back bias. It's a little bit later in the session. I do my first set split between top peg, middle peg, so it's like pretty even throughout the entire like range of the movement in terms of how heavy it is. And then for my back off sets, so I do 2 back off sets here, 3 sets total. It's not really 2 back off sets, it's 3 sets within different rep ranges. My 2 final sets, I do load a little bit more in the top, so in the lengthen, so it drops off more as I'm trying to get the reps short, because my back's going to be a bit more tired. The thing that is an actual bitch for me on this movement is the fact that I'm very short and I find it very difficult to pull the actual handles back. And because I've got a breast orientation as well, I can't just, like I used to just slam myself in here. Unfortunately, that's a physical impossibility. That's one thing that in some ways actually made my ability to train my back a little bit harder, because I had to basically relearn how to train my back after I had my boobs done, because everything felt different. I think I finally got to a point in my off season before then where I was like, oh yeah, now I have to train my back now. And I was like, oh okay, right, I'm back at the start. But that kind of posed a lot of good opportunity for me to then learn how to do things better. I'm taking a bit of an L because I've loaded all the plates on and I've not put a little clip there, which I usually do, so that the starting position's a little bit further up for me, so I can actually reach. But yeah, I'd have to take all the plates off and do that again, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put my big girl pants on and just try and be strong from the unrack. I don't know what you call that, from the start position. Oh. Yeah. Oh. You fucking little cunt. I made that way too hard for myself. Not ideal. I would have liked more reps than that. My whole position was just fucked from the start. So I'm going to just make sure that I put the clip on, because that first rep just absolutely chewed me up and spat me out. It's all good, it's all good. I shall rectify it to the next set. Still decent, still got some good reps, but I just probably would be able to get more if I didn't have to like absolutely break myself to try and get in. So this is what you should do. That, and I can actually set my start position as I want. So here I will literally do just a couple of bodyweight feelers. And then I've got 2 working sets here, one that I'll do weighted, one that I'll do bodyweight. One thing that I think is very important with a movement like weighted dips, so like, it's not like if you're doing a dip machine or even an assisted dip, it's the fact that you've got to have a good bit of oomph behind the set. And you'll hear a lot of people use, I mean, I know me and AJ use that term like oomph a lot. It's literally just what it sounds like. It's that oomph, you know, like that power that goes behind it. I'm going to do my work set now. I'm going to put a whopping 5 kilos on here, I believe. Oh yeah, 5 kilos. Let's go. But doesn't matter, you can't be embarrassed by having a little bit less load. Like 5 kilos, still 10% of my body weight, still happy with it, still strong for me. It's where I need to be. Take some steps, you have to go like muscle. Oh. Okay, by the cable set now, because I'm going to finish arms here. These are push downs, superset with dumbbell hammer curls. And I do these as a superset literally just for efficiency of the session, because I can still get good quality work in, but just make the work a little bit more efficient. I'm going to do one of these, and then I need to go and take pictures. And well, I don't think I need to take pictures, I just need to have a look at AJ. All right, so that was a very, very good session. I had a little bit of a look at AJ after he finished his session. He's looking very, very, very good. Not just in terms of like where he's at in the prep, but in terms of the improvements that he's made as well. It's crazy. It's very, very cool. Obviously coach a mixture of males and females. Obviously more females than I do males, but I do love men's open bodybuilding. Like bodybuilding is obviously what I love. I love all the different classes for their own reasons, but in terms of like following the sport and especially just the look in general with the freakiness that they can bring, it is pretty damn cool. So very, very cool to see where he is at. And of course I just kind of act a little bit as his second eye throughout the process. He pretty much manages everything himself, but it's nice for me to just be able to keep an eye on him and learn from his process, I think, more than anything else. But anyway, I'm going to just have a little bit of a look at myself, see where things are at. I do actually feel like relatively pumped, which is quite nice. It's not always a sign of a good session, but for me, I'm like, okay, if I actually feel pumped and I don't just feel pain, I'm like, probably trained relatively well. I don't really worry too much about how I look when I'm in off season, to be honest. I just make sure my rate of gain's good, training's good, variables are good, feel good, that's it. The look is just a little bit of a side product, because it's never going to be the same way it is as you come down, and you're not going to see progress in the same way as you would on the way down. It's going to be harder to see progress, but it's still good to learn to be confident within that physique. Right, that is that. I'm gonna wrap it up there. It's been a very, very good session. These sessions are relatively efficient. I mean, I say that. It's now 20 to 3. I did enter the gym at 20 past 12, so I've been in here like a little over 2 hours. That's about standard. Really, really good session, I think, especially considering the fact that I was feeling very tired when I came into the session, because I had such a pretty long day of travel over this weekend, and just a big weekend overall. So I was feeling a little bit tired, but often the sessions when you come in and you think, oh, I'm feeling really tired, like, do I really think I can go in and take a great session? They're often the ones where you train the best and you always feel better afterwards, because the thing is you sometimes feel low in energy because you've been like sitting around, you've not been doing much, and often it's coming into the gym and training and moving that makes you feel really, really good. Great session. I'm going to head home now, get my post-workout in. I've got some soft tissue work this evening, so get back, get that done. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed following the session along. I'll definitely bring you some more of my sessions moving forward, so you can see a little bit more of what the split's laid out like. But if anyone's got any questions, and if there's anything specifically that you also want to see in future videos, also shoot them below, because I want to make sure that I obviously bring whatever it is that you want to see on the channel as well. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you made it to the end, and if you have made it to the end, I'm going to copy AJ on this one. You can comment MBW if you made it to the end of the video. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. See you in the next one.